Welcome back to the Rebel's Edge, where we have a lot of news to share with you, both about the attack on Iran and how little some people understand what volatility is and how it moves, whether it's the VIX or whether it's the OVX, the volatility for the crude oil contract. We're going to tell you about that and a whole lot more on today's Rebel's Edge. Bang!
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now official. It is the Rebel's Edge right now.
The Rebel's Edge. Welcome. He is Pete Najarian. I'm Jon Najarian. I'm not going to tell you about my sinking suitcase that fell off.
It is funny.
Fell off the yacht. I'll save that for another time. But boy, air conditioning's been a problem for me, Pete, wherever I am, whether it's in Aventura or whether it's in Miami or even down here in Puerto Rico. Hopefully I get all those issues corrected very quickly. But we're here for the Rebel's Edge. That's what you're here for. We're going to give you some great information and maybe make you laugh once or twice. And by the way, there's going to be one section that's really not safe for work that you might want to turn down your sound, and we'll tell you when that's coming up. But Pete, let's kick it off with the macro minute, which we usually start with. And the macro minute today, I'm going to say Iranian strikes over the weekend. Knock on wood, the men and women that carried out those strikes, 36 hours it took for the B-2 bombers to leave from roughly St. Louis area to get all the way across the ocean, Pete, to precision bomb those nuclear sites, whether it's the enrichment sites or the potential bomb-making sites, with a 30,000-pound bomb. A 30,000-pound bomb that accelerates to supersonic speed and then has a delayed fuse, Pete, so that it doesn't blow up when it hits the ground. It goes 300 feet deep, boom, and then it blows up. I got to think that that was pretty damn successful. And even Iran said not any civilians were killed in that.
Well, and that's the most important part, quite honestly, because all they had to do was even just get one, right? And there, all of a sudden, everybody is going to have to run around. The great news is that it was done perfectly by the gentlemen and the great people of our country, and it was something that I think probably surprised some, including Iran. The fact that they actually went through it, right, and they did it, and so I think it's a really impressive thing that the markets aren't reacting as we probably would have expected, and I think that's the part that really stands out for me is you would have expected probably the markets to have some pressure on it, right? There really hasn't been any at all, and I think that's my biggest takeaway is this is a big operation that just occurred, and you would think that there would be some negatives to it, and so far, John, that we've been able to completely go clear of anything negative.
Yeah, and Pete, crude oil, it's down on the day. Initially, of course, it was up, but it's down right now. And for our fantastic futures today, I'm going to have Jared show everybody this chart because last week, Pete and I talked about the OVX. I won't belabor the point, but it's basically the volatility of the crude oil contract, West Texas Intermediate. And you'd expect that all the idiots on TV would get it all wrong, which of course they did, because Pete and I know from me 44 years of trading, Pete probably 38 years of trading, that you buy rumors, sell news. And the rumors of something happening about crude oil and it being cut off from potentially us striking the nuclear sites in Iran, well, that spiked up the OVX. It went up to 76, I think, Pete, from 33 to 76. You want to buy it at 76? No. Today, it's barely holding on to 60. It's down hard today because that's the way volatility in particular works. But for all the folks on TV that say, well, you probably wanted to have a lot of OVX right about now. No, you didn't. You wanted to be a hands-out seller of OVX because of this.
Yep, no doubt about it, John. And the same thing can be said oftentimes for the volatility index of itself. And here we are sitting with a volatility that, given the backdrop of all of this, a lot of folks probably were like, well, where's this volatility going to get to on the next moment? Well, it hasn't really gotten anywhere. As a matter of fact, we're sitting there, John, of a high, we hit 22. On the lows, we're right around 20, just exactly 20, actually. Last I looked, we were still just above 20. So to your point, is it an event that there was some expectations and all the rest of it? Sure. But I think that the reality is you had to really understand what parts of the market were going to be affected most and all the rest of it. And you put all that together, as you just pointed out, everybody else was crying for something more than what they got. And now they're not even understanding where we are now. And I think basically we had the big spike in the OVX. Shoot, it wasn't that long ago, John. It was in the 20s and it popped up into the 70s. And that's one of those things where you just have to really pay attention, right? I mean, it doesn't take all that much intellect. You just got to pay attention to realize, all right, here we are at the ultra highs. So what is going to get it even higher? Well, probably not a whole heck of a lot. And that's exactly what we've got now.
Well, then we can switch over to some stocks, Pete, because we've got a bunch of them, two of which had real strong, unusual activities. Take a look at this one, folks. HIMSS. Now, did somebody know something was going on? Because Novo Nordisk, those are the guys that make Wegovy, I think is what it's called, Pete. And it's one of those GLP-1 drugs or a semi-glutide. It's what you use to cut down obesity and to address diabetes. That's what it started out as. Well, they had a deal with HIMSS. And then after that deal, basically, Novo Nordisk said, you know what? This two-month-old partnership is done because we think you guys are using deceptive promotions, selling illegitimate knockoffs of our product, even though you licensed it from us. So we're saying you're done. We're not fulfilling the rest of this contract. And HIMSS fell like a stone, Pete.
It did, down as much as 30%, maybe even more than that, John. But I mean, huge numbers here. And as you said very succinctly, the deceptive promotions, that doesn't sound so great against your own partner. I mean, there's a lot to this whole thing, John, that makes you really kind of shake your head, makes you really kind of question HIMSS. All that being said, they've got a great balance sheet when you look at that, the HIMSS side of things there. They do have massive shorts, though. And those massive shorts are probably pretty pleased to see what's going on today with the stock down 30%. Are they buying? We haven't seen a whole heck of a lot of it yet, John, but I think that we at some point might see that just because of the fact that, the stock was as high as 73. Now here it is trading closer to 45. I think it's something that, how long do you want to hold on? And that's something that I think we're going to have to watch pretty closely. But man, they do have a great balance sheet as well. So when you look at that side of it, I don't know that those shorts are going to wait too long before they maybe start buying back some of that short.
And folks, if the allegations are true, to quote one of our other friends on TV, where are these alligators? But if the allegations are true that they indeed were telling people we're giving them the Novo Nordisk Wegovy, and instead they're giving them something else, and it might not be as tested and so forth, there's a lot of liability there, Pete.
Yep.
So even though they do have this great balance sheet, I would caution people to at least think about the idea that if this is true, if these allegations are true, and they play out, it's going to go a lot lower than 44. I'll tell you that for sure.
Yep.
All right. Let's talk, Pete, about another stock that's making a nice big move. Cormedix, up strong. Biopharma company increased its Q2 sales guidance to a range of 35 to 40 mil. That is very positive versus, for instance, 31 million, which is what they had previously said. So it's not a stock that we talk about a lot, folks, but this one explodes to the upside on that news.
And very often, John, you look at biopharmas, you look at, do they even have earnings? Or if they do, what does their PE really look like? This one actually is not in that category of nervousness. You're looking at a 21 PE for a biopharma. They got about a 12% short interest in this one, John. They're working with life-threatening diseases and all the rest of it. It's incredible. And their most recent thing that they're putting out there approved was this Deaf-on cath, which reduces infections. So they're in the mix of doing all the things right that you'd want to be looking at when you're looking at a company like this. And you see it up today as much as 25%. It's up there for a reason. And I'll tell you what, given the fact that it's a 21 PE, John, and looking at what their possibilities are into the future, I got to tell you, I don't know that this one's done. As a matter of fact, I think that it's got plenty of more fuel there. So could it go a lot higher? I'm in that camp. Am I buying it today? I'm not buying it today.
Well, how about quantum computing, Peter? You buying this one today? It falls by 11%. Why does it fall? Well, for good reason. They're going to be doing a private placement of $200 million worth of stock, basically. They're doing what companies should do, in my opinion anyway, Pete, and that is when your stock runs up, then you say, okay, well, I'm going to sell you a whole bunch of stock, not at where it closed last Friday, for instance, which was, let me see, Pete, 1888. Instead, we're going to do this private placement at 1425. Well, what do you think that does to the stock? It takes it down. Is that a dumb thing on their part? Nope. It was a 35-cent stock within the last year. It's been a $27 stock as the quantum computing craze picked up. So to be able to raise money at a 16 instead of a 40-cent where it was, Pete, I think is a pretty smart move.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you, John. I was thinking the same thing. There are some significant shorts here as well. But the fact that they were able to get this private placement out there and everybody got pretty excited about that, are they going to continue to the downside? No. When that thing is filled, I think this has plenty of room still to the upside to go up there. Now, does that mean it's going to get all the way up to 27? I'm not saying that, but certainly when you're in the teens, I think this is one of those kind of stocks that could get back up in there in the upper teens and maybe even into the 20s, John. They're raising that money for all kinds of different ideas that they've got out there, including some strategic acquisitions and so forth. So there's plenty of reasons why they would do this. And like you just said, it's a very smart move given the run that it's had from 35 cents. Even if you just don't even forget the 27 bucks, 35 cents up to 15, I'd say that would be a pretty damn good trade if I was in that one, John. I was not.
Yeah, that would be a great trade. And knock on wood, Pete, that kind of trade happens all the time, and I'm about to show you another. For instance, Tesla. So Tesla is out there, and Pete, turned out somebody last week traded on the 19th, as you see on the screen there, they traded 26,000 calls. 26,000 calls at the July 340 strike. Well, that's 2.6 million share equivalent. I'm rounding, but it's 26,410. 2.6 million share equivalent times $340. You guys can do the math. It's almost $900 million trade is what went down. Well, it's worth a lot more now, Pete, because the stock went from 337 last week. Right now, it's $352 a share. So again, you follow the smart money, which you guys can do too. If you subscribe, you could go to the click through there that Jared's putting up on the screen so that you could subscribe and be on the same plane as Pete, as me, and as all of our subscribers. This is just an amazing move for Tesla, Pete.
Yeah, and the fact that they've done this launch, John, down there in Austin, I think that's pretty interesting. They're finally getting to what they had been putting out there for a while, which is that driverless taxi type service that they were going to do. They've got cameras that are going to use AI as opposed to most everybody else that's out there that's in this world that's using radar or other functions, but they're using AI. I'll tell you what, there's a really good reason why Elon got back over towards the Tesla side of things. I think he has turned things around in an amazingly fast mission that he's been on since he got back there from sitting in the White House each and every day. I am not amazed because he's done this so many different times of the brilliance that he's been able to put out there, John. But I give him kudos for sure, because there's a lot of different things that Tesla now is doing so right. And I think that it does help having Elon back there. It doesn't really matter where he is necessarily, but as long as he's part of the company again, like he is, and he's working there a day and night, we all know that means literally practically 24 hours a day. But
Yep.
You're starting to see some of the fruits of the labor of what he's put into this thing, and the fact that they've got that launch done. That was something everybody's been kind of waiting for. It's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. But I'm always just totally amazed by what he's able to do in a short period of time.
Yeah. And I hope, Bill Gates, I hope you're still short. I hope you're still short, because I know it hurts. Let's talk, Pete, a little bit of sports. I know you never mind talking about sports. In fact, Pete does a hell of a job with it. But this is that part, folks, where you might want to turn down the sound a little if you're listening at work. There is no sex in this at all, so it's not safe for work because of the language, not the sex. But we wanted to show you this as the raw footage shows. This was a pretty interesting game, Game 7, between the Pacers and the OKC team, and it lived up to the hype. It probably didn't deliver the ratings the NBA or ESPN wanted, but it was a spectacular series nonetheless.
Yeah.
Take a listen.
Oklahoma City just won the championship. Holy shit. These motherfuckers were the best
Holy
team all
shit.
season, and they felt destined to
A few
win.
MFs here and there, you know, we've heard it.
I've had a total of 5 hours of sleep this weekend. I'm zapped off Adderall. Got an upper deck packed with
I'm
zinc.
zapped off
Taken about
Adderall.
9 shots of pre-workout today. And holy fuck, the
This
Halliburton
guy's one
came
of
out
the
bombing
best,
the shit
by
out of
the way.
OKC. Oh my God, baby, here we go. The Magnets are in the building tonight.
These guys can shoot from anywhere on the court.
How about that one, though?
Yeah,
You have to let me go.
man, that injury is brutal.
And these are some of the best athletes on earth.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's not just 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers that pops an Achilles. These are, there were some, 3 different players in the NBA team in the playoffs popped an Achilles tendon.
Yeah, it is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. She's waving everybody around. How exciting is that got to be? To be able to do that, to be able to do it on your home court, all the rest of it. Those people stayed, John. I'll bet you they were still there 2 hours after the game. It looked like it was going to stay a full house, that's for sure. Here's a question for you. How good is this SGA? I mean, when you look at the numbers that this guy put up this year, John, very few people have ever, if anybody, as a matter of fact, has put up all the basic numbers that he put up. I mean, from being MVP of this and the scoring guy here and all the different things that he did, and they won the championship, and he was MVP of the series of not only the postseason but the regular season. He's going to get paid, John. Now, here's what the estimates are. He's 26 years old, right? He's looking at a contract extension of 4 years for, let's just round it up a little bit, $300 million. That seems like a pretty damn nice number to me. I mean, I'll tell you what, it's absolutely amazing. And if they can do this one thing, John, they could be that team that, everybody was already talking about Boston last year after they won the whole thing, and they should. They were unbelievable. They had great pieces to the puzzle, right, on that team. Well, I got to tell you, OKC is no different. When you look at this, John, and you start looking at SGA and you go, okay, he's the MVP of whatever, everything. Jalen Williams is another guy who's pretty absolutely amazing. I mean, he's, the second fiddle, but in any other team, he's right up there as almost the best player on the team, except in his own team with SGA. And then you and I have a good friend, David Holmgren, whose son is Chet Holmgren, former kid out of Minneapolis, went to Gonzaga and all the rest of it. John, that guy has really turned into a great NBA player, better than I thought he would, because I look at him, and he looks kind of frail, 7-foot guy. He's skinny as can be. But you know what? He's tough. He's mean. He's a heck of a player. He knows how to rebound the right way, block shots. I mean, there's nothing the guy can't do defensively. And even with that, his dad taught him at a young age, because he knew he'd be skinny. He's like, hey, man, you need to be able to be a ball handler and be able to shoot the three. So when you've got those 3 players on your roster, and they've got a lot of other guys, great support guys as well, but if you've got those 3 guys, this could turn into a pretty interesting run, I think. I think OKC was close, and now that they've gotten it, What do you think? Are they somebody who could win this thing? Maybe 3 out of the next 5 years, would you say, if they can keep the group together?
Yeah, Shea Gilgeous Alexander, Pete. The kid came out of Kentucky, highly touted, much deserved, 3-time, I believe, NBA All-Star, All NBA, and he showed you why in that game. And the fact that Tyrese Halliburton had that, unfortunate, devastating injury, he'll come back from it. But unfortunately, so many of these guys, Pete, Kevin Durant had something similar. They feel something in their calf, and then the trainers, massage the heck out of the calf and all the rest, and then send them back out there for game after game. And the thing is, it's not really their calf, it's lower, it's the Achilles tendon. But again, I'm not trying to put shade all over the trainers and things like that. Nobody can tell ahead of time that you're about to pop your Achilles tendon. And these guys generally stretch pretty damn well, but they're also playing at such a high level and under such exact protocols as far as how they work out, Pete, how much they can lift during the season. Obviously, most of the heavy stuff is before the season. Other than a couple of these guys, most of them aren't lifting as heavy. They're mainly working on cardio during the season and so forth. That's not to say they don't work out, but nonetheless, it ain't football. Football players still have to lift pretty heavy during the season. I don't think basketball players or golfers lift nearly as heavy during their seasons as football players and rugby players have to maintain their size. But anyway, great player. Your question with he and Holmgren, all you got to do is do a little filling, Pete, around those two, because they're both exceptional. And many of those other players on that team are exceptional. I bet they hold on to him. But this will be a tough contract to swallow if you're the owners.
Some big money getting thrown out there, but that's basketball, man. And if you look at what these franchises are getting, valued at, especially take a look at the Lakers at $10 billion. I mean, these are unbelievable numbers, right? I mean, the numbers that are going on in the NFL and the NBA specifically, hockey's a little bit behind those, but it is absolutely amazing when you look at that. John, next up, you mentioned football. I was going to go right to that. Shedeur Sanders. What do we got to do to help this kid out, John? He's got his father. His father is, a blessed man and an unbelievable athlete, and he's turned into a really great coach, I think. But the guy's got 2 now violations in his car, doing as much as 91 miles an hour and 101 miles an hour, John. Twice now since he's gotten to Cleveland. He's only been there like a month or so. So something is wrong. And somebody's going to have to teach him that, he already came there with a little bit of baggage, which is why he dropped as far as he did, right? Because they said he wasn't prepared. He wasn't this, he wasn't that. He was very cocky, all the rest of it. Well, how's the best way to get rid of that? Well, to be a guy who doesn't find newspaper because he's driving 101 miles an hour. So what do you think if you were his father, if you were Dion, what would you say to this kid to say, hey, man, you've got to get your crap together here. You've got to figure out how you're going to get this so it's presented right, the personality side of it, to the fans so that they're going to like you. Because I got to think right now, John, plenty of them are sitting there shaking their head wondering, was this really the right thing to do to draft this guy? He's a great quarterback, don't get me wrong. But personality-wise, wow, he's kind of shown a few flaws of late.
Johnny Football, Johnny Manziel. Obviously he had the same sort of pedigree, Pete, except that he won the Heisman because he didn't have Travis Hunter playing on his team.
That's true. So
Shedeur might have been right up there with Genty as far as winning the Heisman. He was definitely at the awards dinner, Pete. So, they have the 5 or 6 players that are in the finals as far as voting. But I think if I'm his father, Dion, I tell him, get a driver. Just get a driver. Do not drive the rest of the season because you don't need a drunk driving thing, which could happen. I don't even know if the kid drinks. If he drinks or smokes, again, that's not the end of the world. Just don't get behind the wheel of a car and do it. Don't drive fast. How can you accomplish both of those tasks, you don't drive.
Right.
You get a driver. And, even though he's not making the money he should make, he could easily pay a driver 50 grand, Pete, and the driver would be more than happy to pick him up at the club, drive him home, go out and get him a pizza or whatever he wants late at night instead of DoorDash or whatever. He should not be behind the wheel of a car until next season, even in the off season, because you don't want to wreck your reputation. You don't want to wreck how the coaches view you. And really, is he not better than Flacco? He is, but he's going to play behind him if he keeps effing around like this. So I think you need to basically just say, look, kid, don't drive yourself right now. You still have your Rolls Royce. Great. You get a driver to drive that damn Rolls Royce. And then I think everything falls into place, hopefully, Pete, and hopefully in the locker room, he's not being a you-know-what, because if he is, if he pulls a Kaepernick sort of thing, and I don't mean kneeling, I mean, if he's poison in the locker room, like Colin Kaepernick was in his last year, then he's not going to play anywhere. And just look at Johnny Manziel if you doubt me, folks.
Right. No, you're right. And I had forgot that name. As soon as you brought that up, I thought, you know what? There it is. That's a great comparison, because the personality didn't go very well with what he had as, a great football player, right? I mean, we're talking about 2 Heisman Trophy winners here. So they did something right. There's no doubt about that. But they've got to stop doing the things that are wrong. And I think all of us know what those things are, especially when you start stacking them up the way that he has so far. Not such a great start in Cleveland. Good stuff, John.
91 miles an hour and 101 miles an hour, folks, in a 60. All of us could get tagged going 70 or 80 in a 60, but you're at 91 or 101, you're on purpose going really fast. You're not just not concentrating, you're pushing it.
Yeah.
And anyway, let's hope he does something about it, Pete. Well, let's hope you do something about it, and check out marketrebellion.com/get started for more. You can still grab our free book at itsnotanoption.com. And Pete and I will be back. I forget what time's tomorrow's show, Pete.
I think it's 1 p.m. Eastern time. Pretty sure.
1 p.m. Eastern time. See you then.